love power glove.
No time for time travel.
Welcome to No Time for Time Travel's Why So Similar, where we take a look at video game music and see what songs they sound like. Alright, so for this episode, we're actually going to do something a little different. We are actually going to go over wrestling song music, and technically it kind of fits because there's been a lot of wrestling video games. This actually came about because we got a lot of suggestions from Kinetic, who's the host of the Behind the Line podcast or Behind the Line Radio, and he's also part of the Enthusiasts Network. So thank you, Kinetic, for all your suggestions. So let's get started. So the first song comes from Jericho, Y2J. So he had several songs, but the one that we're talking about is from his stint at WCW. Does that sound familiar to you? It should have. Maybe if you're a big rock fan, you'll figure it out. It sounds familiar because Pearl Jam has a song called Even Flow, and if you listen to it, the notes are pretty much the same but in reverse, and then when it gets to the part where it's vocals, it's really close to it. Alright, so the next song on this list is from Perry Saturn. Perry Saturn, or sometimes just known as Saturn, he was also from WCW, and we're going to listen to the fifth theme that he had. So this one's actually pretty interesting because it sounds a lot like The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson, which is actually pretty funny because later on, the SmackDown show on WWF or WWE, they used The Beautiful People as their main theme song. Now we're going to go old school and we're going to listen to Mr. Perfect's theme. So Mr. Perfect's theme is going to be right here, and it sounds very classic, and there's a reason why it sounds very classic. Alright, did you guys catch that? Now the reason why it sounds so classic or familiar to you is it's taken from the theme of Exodus, so it's like really, really close to it. And if you listen to the Exodus theme here, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now we're going to go a little bit more modern. And when I say modern, I still mean the 90s. So, 90s or early 2000s. We're going to listen to Raven's theme. And Raven's theme is pretty familiar as well. So what's really funny about Raven is that his whole look and his whole style is all based on the grunge era. So the grunge style, the grunge look. And the song itself is actually very similar to a song by Nirvana, which is a grunge band. And Nirvana's song, Come As You Are, is basically this song, but with reverse notes. The best for last because this was one of my favorite theme songs back when I was watching wrestling. And this is from Diamond Dallas Page, so it's called Self High Five. Now I felt really dumb about this because I always liked the song, but I never knew why. It always felt like it was familiar. And then Kinetic was the one that actually told me that it sounds a lot like Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. After I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I should have known that. So here's a funny story. While I was researching this, I found an interview where they did it with Diamond Dallas Page, and they were asking him about the song and asking him about like, hey, did this song get inspired by Smells Like Teen Spirit? And he actually answered and was like, yes, I was in the room and I told them we want to go for the grunge sound and we want to copy this song. He legitimately recommended them to copy or at least change the sound a little bit from Smells Like Teen Spirit. Alright, thank you again for joining us on this episode of Why So Similar. If you have a suggestion for a video game song that sounds familiar, leave it in the comments and we'll use it in a future episode and credit you. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe and share it with your friends. But until next time, no time for time travel. Signing off, Herdiger and Warp Speed. See ya!